Damn, they didn't waste time with a picture with Francis with the belt.
Because they know he's a star.
They didn't waste that time.
It's like Super Bowl T-shirts. It's like we just printed it. We just had this made just in case. We just did these pictures just in case you won, so we could just put this out right away.
Yeah. Update the rankings now. Update them right now.
Quickly. Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is the Highly Advised Podcast. This is Relaxed and NoG_Jackson. I am here with my compadres, Big Cozy, Too Cozy, and I have Spence down there, St. Kitch. How are y'all doing? How are y'all chilling? How has your week been?
What's up?
What's going on, everybody? I can't call it, man. Everything's been good. Same old. Another beautiful day. Tasting sunshine on episode 49. So,
tasting sunshine. Okay, Lau, how are you?
Everything's good. Can't complain. Life is good. Family's good. Everything's all right. I'm not going to give a bad guy intro. I'm going to save that for the Big 50 next week. So right now, everything is going to be calm. We have a good episode to give for the fans. We'll see how it goes with this episode because not a lot happened, but you know us, we're magicians and we can make it work. So
I hear you. Well, I mean, like that's kind of dope. You know, started physical therapy this week and that's going kind of decently. So I'm trying to flex my leg out and see what's going on. Hopefully be good, you know, not too long from now.
Man, you about to come back stronger, man. You about to be like an NBA player. You about to be like Derrick Rose knees after both ACLs, man. You about to be playing harder than ever. Watch out, yo.
I thank God that I didn't mess up my knee, man, because like that would be so like just I don't want to do that. Like, you know,
you don't.
Nah, lower body injuries, period, are the worst. But like when it's knee related, like I've never had like a knee injury, but like from my observation, it is nothing fun. So yeah, you'll be back to normal. You like the Wolverine anyway. You bounce back in it's been 2 weeks. You broke your leg. Now you're back. Now you back walking like nothing happened.
It's more like a month and a half. But you're right. Yes.
2 weeks by the listeners, man. If you listening to this for the first time, listening to this for the first time, it's only been 2 weeks since he broke his leg, and now he's back walking like nothing ever happened. So you can't complain about that.
You know, it's crazy. The listeners have been kind of seeing me going through this journey with my leg, you know, this healing process. It's been a rough one, I'm not gonna lie, but I've had, you know, good friends and, you know, people, family around me, so it's nice. It's been nice.
That was actually a good healing process.
What's that?
If you got an 8-figure check, that's a good healing process for anything.
I would be healed today. I'd walk around quickly to an 8-figure check, yeah.
Yeah, similar to Issa Rae, man. I heard something about it where she inked an 8-figure deal with Warner Media, pretty much for a case of shows and possibly movies as well, or what?
So I don't know the specifics of her deal. I would assume and this is without any type of research. I would assume it's like a Tyler Perry type deal where it's like maybe he'll have like just like a lot of production or whatever, you know, underneath her name. That's
gonna be dope for like if that be the case. Well, do you know anything, Lau? Before I say anything.
No, just like Nigel, nothing specific, but instead of the headline, I think the importance of the deal that we have a sister that's able to nab an 8-figure deal. You don't hear that too often for women in general in Hollywood or in the TV world or in the movie world. So for her, I think that's amazing for her, but it's also a win for women in the space of TV and movies. Or film is the proper term.
She did the web series like Awkward Black Girl, right?
Yeah.
So my sister was watching that way back in the day. And I know like for her coming from that to where she is now, I can really respect that because like that was the first time I heard about her. And I haven't even like watched Insecure, if I'm being honest. So like I just think like her journey has been really dope.
Yeah, man. Listen,
I hear it's a good show.
I was watching it for a while. And it was a really great show. Only reason I stopped watching is because I think I had changed like providers or something. But outside of that, it's a really great show. It was like a really great show that really depict like normal people in the sense of like you can identify somebody with some of her characters in so many words. So she was making a really hit show then, and then I remember hearing about Awkward Black Girl. I never watched that, but
It was funny.
it's really.
Yeah, it was. It was entertaining.
I believe it. I've always heard good reviews, so I'm not surprised. Like I think someone like her, it's definitely when you seeing someone go from like the YouTube space and social media space to like kind of build up their name, and then to get it on like a big picture such as Showtime, or I believe it was Showtime. Insecure.
That's HBO, isn't it?
Okay, HBO then. I'm not sure. I forget. I forget which provider it was, but like even for Insecure, like for someone to jump from YouTube to this is really astounding. But like it's just a beautiful thing to see at the same time. It just shows you how like there's no matter what gates have been put there or roadblocks have been put there, like you can always exceed past what limitations people put on you.
Yeah, definitely shouts out to her. I think it's dope, man. I think it's dope. Like I said, for women in general, not Oprah can't be the only woman making all these racks, all this, money. We got to have some new women in the fucking space. So shouts out to Issa Rae. I think that's pretty dope. And I hope that everybody could see the magnitude of her nabbing this deal. I think it's a big thumbs up to women.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll see more from it as time progresses. I think we'll see some more from it. I know there's other things in the meantime with other movies. I believe I heard something about the movie Black Widow. Something because I think one of you guys had mentioned it to me before, right?
Yeah. So Black Widow, Marvel superhero movie, part of the big Marvel franchise from Disney. Mm-hmm. It's finally get its release date in July. I can't remember the exact July date, but it's in July. But they're doing a double theater release. So not only you can watch it on Disney Plus, their streaming service, but you could actually go in theaters to watch it. And they're finally doing release. Now, Black Widow may be one of the more bigger movies of this year coming out. This topic is not necessarily centered around Black Widow itself. It's more or less of the double release of like, hey, you can watch this from home, but you can also go to the theaters. And we're in the streaming platforms, they're starting to do that. Well, more specifically, Disney Plus and HBO Max. They're the ones that's doing that. And I think that is pretty cool because for people who don't feel safe to go out or they can't go out because of sickness or whatnot, they can go ahead and watch it from home in the comfort of their own home. But if there's people who are like, yeah, I'm going to take the risk and go out and try to enjoy myself, the option is there too. And I think that's good for like the movie industry because they could start making some more money with people wanting to go out and watch it in theaters.
I think that's pretty dope, to be honest with you. Like, I know I've seen it before with with HBO Max for Judas and the Black Messiah. That was one of those movies that was a double release. I think personally, I think it's perfect for the person that's willing to go. And then the person that's just like, yo, I'd rather stay at home and be safe. So it's like it's a best of both worlds for whoever wants whatever experience they want in terms of movie watching.
Yeah. I think that this is good for movie studios because they could really make their money. If you don't want to stay home, you got that option. But if you want to, of course, here you go. You probably got to pay a little extra fee to view this movie on Disney Plus because everybody knows HBO Max, all the movies are free. So I think it's good. It's good to create options. I think it's dope.
I think a lot of these studios are definitely going to start doing that a lot more because I think at the end of the day, a lot of these studios have, deals with like the theaters and whatnot to actually put their movies out there. Like, your Universal Studios and whatnot, who can just directly put out the movies on a streaming service and get a lot more of their money back than instead of splitting it with the theaters and whatnot. So I think it's interesting that they're choosing to put their movies in the theaters anyway, because I guess some people would even want the experience of actually being in a theater compared to watching it from their couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think they've played with this idea for a couple of years now. Like, I think before it was, instead of streaming services, I remember you had the option of certain movies, they would still come out they would still be a regular release as always, but you had the option of paying whoever your service provider was to watch it on demand from the comforts of your couch. Now it's just more to the forefront because of the pandemic, I think. So
yeah, exactly. It pushed it forward.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely it gave it a springboard to move forward in. So for now, going back to the point you said with theaters, them still doing deals with theaters, I think that's an interesting point now where how long does the business last? How long does that business last when it's traditional moviegoers? Like, will this eventually eclipse the traditional moviegoers even once the pandemic is over with and people say, hey, we can go travel wherever we want to, and the same day that movie comes out, we could watch it from the comforts of a couch?
I think it's going to make it, interesting for a few different reasons. Like, you're going to have your people who are always going to want to go to, movie theaters and watch it for that movie theater experience. But then you got people who are like, hey, I can watch Black Widow from the comfort of my home, and I can have my own home studio, to watch it in. You know what I mean? So maybe people just invest in those more. It's just what happens with what happened in the world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, that makes sense. Like, I think I can definitely see people wanting to buy more of like the home studios and the home stereo systems so you can have that experience. Plus, on top of it, you don't have to pay for snacks. Like,
yeah.
Like you don't have to spend like the $20 for a soda and a popcorn.
You can have greens and chitlins while you're watching Black Widow at home.
Boy.
Yeah. Hey, man, whatever tastes good on your plate, man. It's whatever's on your fork, man.
I'm just saying, you can do that.
You might
What's
fall
your
asleep
choice of
halfway
snacks?
through the movie.
Some people want chitlins.
That's a snack.
That's not a snack. I never heard someone comfortably say, "No, I don't want any cashews. Give me them chitlins for a snack, man." Like, yo, why you smell like vinegar, Nigel? Oh, you know what I mean? Had to get some chitlins out the way real quick. Need a little snack.
You need the hot sauce on it, man. You can't. The vinegar is cool, but I mean, you really trying to eat it without the hot sauce, though? I can't do that.
Jeez.
Hey, man, to each his own, man.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Speaking of chitlins, actually, right? Well, I don't really want to use.
Nah, go ahead.
Speaking of Nigel's famous fucking.
When was the last time I said that? Y'all called me on for an on episode. I had to stop.
Speaking of.
Go ahead, you got it.
Nah, man. Y'all are funny. Nah, I was just bringing up the. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but with Vic Mensa, he dropped an album last week, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I saw it trending on Twitter, which kind of brought my eyes to it. But it's a really dope album. I think it's called Musa or something like that. I forget the name of it, but he tells like multiple stories in it, as well as having like a couple skits while rapping, like kind of going back to our conversation we had pre-recording, like with like the whole thing with rappers and singers and all of this. Like, even his style on this one was like really great. So I definitely suggest I highly advise people to actually check that album out. I'll get the name to you guys, but that was a good album. And then I saw that Future, he might actually be releasing Hendrix too, which as a fan, you can't ask for anything more, yo. iTape, that's the name of the Vic Mensa joint.
iTape like iPhone?
Yeah, but it's like 2 separate words.
Oh, okay.
I and then tape. Like, it's a dope album though. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, so Hendrix too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll be looking forward to listening to Hendrix too.
I feel you, man. As an avid Future fan.
I'll give it a listen. I just want to hear what it sounds like.
For real. It's like it's like iTape, like iPhone. Yeah, but it's 2 separate words. I'll be listening to Hendrix.
He said, "All right,
Nah, but for real, I do think you might like it because it's just him actually rapping over some like dope beats. I think the first song it sounds like it's Just Blaze produced on there, so it's like Just Blaze, like classic Just Blaze instrumentals with him rapping over it. And even Just Blaze was like, yo, this feels like I'm in baseline. Nah, but even like Future though, like Back to Future instead, like, I mean, yo, it's gonna be a dope album. I want to see if he's gonna give us like collections too, which would be very interesting. I just hope it's like a good thing if it lives up to his first album with Hendrix One. So
hey man, with the future project, you're guaranteed like one or two songs that will sound like relatively good. That's all I'm looking for. Just a few songs to really come in with the summer. That's it.
I agree.
But it can't be if it's Hendrix 2, it can't be one or two songs. Hendrix 1 was like, I would say out of 17 songs, it was like maybe 11 to 15 good songs.
I'm just not looking for like supreme quality from Future. I'm just looking for something that sounds good.
Was Hendrix 1 the joint with the white cover and it was mainly like R&B-esque?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that album. I was like, okay, I fucks with this joint. He had that song with Rihanna on there and shit, right?
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of that song itself, but like even then though, it's like that whole album itself was like really good though. It was like a really great album personally, and it's like I don't know, it's like I think it was prime Future. I'll say based off everything that was surrounding him at that time. So
yeah, man. Hendrix too, it'll probably deliver and. Shouts out to our Toxic King. He speaks the best gospel, and he has written the Toxic Bible. And when it spreads, and when it comes down to generations to century to century, we're going to be looking at the King Future version of the text, not the King James version.
Yeah, the Mystic Mac of misogyny, man. You're funny, yo.
We're talking about kings. Can we talk about the new king of the heavyweight division?
The scariest man in the world. The scary man. Of course, man.
So, listeners, last night, if you're listening to this, it's probably a few days since then, but there is a new heavyweight champion. His name is Francis Ngannou. He is from Cameroon, and he knocked out Stipe Miocic in the second round and then hit him with one more just to make sure that he was out when he clearly was. His knee popped, his ankle popped, all that shit. He got hit with the icebreaker.
He looked like you.
Yes, he looked just like me. Yeah. I made that face. That was all swollen. I did. I swear.
Help, please. Oh man, yeah, man. He got flatlined last night. Congratulations to Francis Ngannou. I think this was. I think the performance that we got from him last night was probably one of the scariest things we've seen from someone that has that type of power, but at the same time wasn't overly anxious, was able to stuff takedowns, was able to show like, hey, I'm not the person that you fought in 2018. He literally came in looking just scary, and it's now that there's so many questions that come past that fight. Now looking at this Francis Ngannou, who can really beat him? The challenges that face him. Well, it's no longer will he be able to rise to the occasion. Will the occasion be able to rise to him at this point from seeing a fight like that last night? Like he didn't lose a round. Stipe was doing good with some of his striking, but maybe some people that are listening, maybe they didn't watch the same fight as us. But I can definitely tell you this: if you watched the fight last night, or the other day, like we did in UFC 260, it's without question this may be one of the scariest guys we've seen. Definitely just seeing how the way he fought last night. Depending on how he could perform, if he could perform like that moving forward. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent.
Spence, how did you feel when Francis snapped him down like that and defended the takedown and took his back? How did you feel after you saw that?
I was like, my eyes got peeled open. I said, son, there is no way.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. And he did it and you could tell the way he did it was as if like, he's practiced this 1,001 times in the gym. Like as anybody that's wrestled before, especially, he sprawled so easily and fluid and was able to go and take the back in such a way where it's like, oh, this isn't like something he just learned like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
he's
good at it. It was technique. He did it like wow, impressively.
And then just started bombing shots even from that perspective. Like one thing I will give credit to Stipe for is that he has one impressive chin, because the punches that he was getting hit with were punches that flatline almost any competitor that came to France's door prior to that. Like,
I agree, bro. We have to give Stipe his flowers because, I mean, one, he's the heavyweight GOAT, right? And that's a debate, but for the sake of this, he endured a lot. Like, I think he was concussed, and I think he was out before Francis finally put him down, way before that. Because in that first round, when he got taken down, and Francis was unloading the shots and all that, I thought Stipe was like, oh, this guy, he's out on his feet. And I think he's just trying to regroup because he wasn't pressing forward, none of that. And when he came back to the fucking corner, his coach was like, hey, man, you got to start doing some offense. And I don't think that was sound advice because I think his coaching staff was probably like, oh shit, we weren't expecting this. And I think that the game plan was, hey, we're going to wait for him to explode, bum rush. We're going to counter off of that. We're going to mix into wrestling. Well, you saw the fight. Francis wasn't bum rushing. He was taking his time, picking the shots, leg kick, head kick, body punch. He went to the top. He exploded a little bit, but then he backed off to, kind of calm down, ease up. You could tell Francis' coaching staff, they're like, look, you can win. Just calm down and let's add some tools to the game. Now, second round, he got hit with that one punch. Now, I know there's a little saying like, oh, he got rocked. I don't think he's rocked. I think when he got hit with that one punch, Francis was probably like, okay, let me stop because I don't want to get knocked out. So he probably was like, all right, let me stop. Stipe immediately came forward, check left hook. And, all the memes, he fell backwards holding a progressive sign, all that shit. Phenomenal performance by Francis. He won from the first bell till when Herb Dean sprinted forward and stopped it. I just thought I was very impressed. I was like, this is very scary for the rest of the heavyweight division. It's very scary for John Jones, who might scam his way out of the fight because, he realizes like, oh shit, I can't beat this guy because it's going to take wrestling to beat him. But I know Dana White is talking to his little shit, and we'll see if John actually is going to take the fight or not. Hopefully John doesn't do nothing, be like, I want 50 million, because we already know he's not getting 50 million. So hopefully John can get paid for the fight. Hopefully he can get 3 to 4 billion to take this fight. With that being said, I hope Francis gets paid millions too.
Yep.
I mean,
absolutely.
So I thought great main event. I think this is a big moment for the year for mixed martial arts, UFC more specifically. That was just like, wow, nobody was expecting that. People thought like, oh, if he won by knockout, it would be from like a crazy exchange. No, man.
It's like just throwing loose punches and just flat slams him. It's like, no, it's like he literally looked like, no pun intended, he looked like the Ultimate Fighter. Like he like he looked like the Ultimate Fighter that was like freakishly huge, can punch as hard as a Ford Escort. But at the same time, it's like, but he has the patience of like a turtle at that point where it's like, I'm not even by him, like not tiring himself out by throwing all those punches. It's like, yo, someone like this, third or fourth round, if he's not gassed out by the third round fighting like that and someone's because you have to adapt to his style to some extent. Because you can't fight your own. It's going to be hard to fight your own game against someone that, at the end of the day, to take him down, you got to take a risk on getting clipped. He has good defense. And then it's like, if you stand on your feet with him, there's a huge risk. There's a huge risk of getting flatlined. So it's like he has like a Midas touch. Like as soon as he touches you, it's like a brick of gold. You're just laid out. So
here's the thing. I think if you want to beat Francis, I think the recipe to it is in the early rounds, you get him in some type of I think in the early rounds you get him a little exhausted from like an extended exchange of some type, and you keep on trying to do that process. Like, and I think you would not necessarily stop until maybe the third or fourth. Because it's like if he has an extended grappling exchange, like do you think he's going to be able to hold up in the second, in the third and fourth like that?
Well, here's the problem with that though. At heavyweight, different landscape. We talk about Stipe, collegiate wrestler. He has wrestling attributes, and he outworked Francis. Francis legitimately stopped his takedown, used his fucking weight to complete the sprawl, spun around his back. Now, mind you, when he stopped the takedown, it wasn't like he stopped it with brute force. There was technique. He kept Stipe's head down. He did the underhooks. Like that's
I
like
literally said all that. I said all that. I get that. But my point is this. Like, do you think he could do that for like 3 or 4 minutes and then be the same way in the third and fourth round?
But do you think
that's all I'm saying?
Do you think someone can do that to him for those multiple rounds?
Exactly.
My bad.
I didn't say somebody's going to do it. I said the way to do it would be. That's what I said.
Exactly.
Yo, you sound like Oscar, but that's like Oscar De La Hoya talking about how he knows how to beat Floyd Mayweather. Like it's like there's a formula to be. Yes, there might be a formula to beat this person, right? But if nobody can go in and produce that formula, right? Can go in and be active within that formula to beat that guy. Definitely with someone like not Stipe, but definitely like someone like Francis. I think there's a lot of fighters out there that have good chins that can take punches, but I don't think there's enough fighters out there that can take the shots that Stipe took if they get put in that same position. You know, like it.
That's great. I never said there was somebody like that. I just said, hey, this might be the way to do it. That's all I said. That's what my point was.
Man, I'll tell you what, you have to have a chin. If you don't
absolutely,
if you don't have a chin, you can't fight like that. You can't. You just can't. Stipe, man, I'm telling you, after that shit, when he was getting clocked on the ground and he worked his way back up, he clearly was out of it. It just shows how tough he is because he was able to still go into the second round. He was done before the second round. He was getting cracked, man.
No, but you made a good point earlier when you said that he wasn't really throwing any shots. Like after like that little exchange, he was just he was throwing a little feints here and there, but he wasn't really throwing like actual punches. So it was kind of odd. Like I saw that, and maybe he was like a little dazed, or he was just doing enough to stay with it. Maybe a leg kick here and there, and that was about it.
Yeah, man. I think, and when Stipe charged forward before he finally, got folded up and shit like that, you could tell that it was like running off an instinct because he just got dropped, got up, and he was getting cracked. He hit Ngannou with one good one, and in his mind probably like, oh, this is it. His brain was scrambled, man. It was like cartoon shit. Brain bouncing against the fucking walls inside his head. and Francis put his lights out and almost fucking fatality'd him. Like the shit was just it's crazy, man. I'm sorry. I think he'll knock John Jones out or Derrick Lewis. It's gonna be hard to beat a guy like that.
I think this is a fight that John could easily lose. It's gonna be tough. Like if he beats Francis Ngannou, it's going to be very tough. Like, this is not going to be an easy fight for John Jones at all. Expect
or Derrick Lewis.
Derrick Lewis is going to lose. If he fights Francis, he's going to lose. Straight up. And I like Derrick Lewis.
Dana said that Derrick Lewis is up next, unless John, they figure out that.
All right, Dana. All right, go ahead and pass up on that $1 million fight, Dana. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you, John. I don't see Dana doing it, but last night he was saying, "Oh, Derrick is up next." He might be saying that for leverage.
Yeah, all right.
At that point, it's just talk. Like, there's no way. Of all money fights, I'm not gonna lie to you. Dumb. Yeah, to be honest with you, the only way it would make sense for that to happen would only be to be like, all right. You would have to give him someone that okay, Francis is going to beat this guy. If we give him Derrick Lewis, you have to give him someone that he can just beat an overkill, right? To heighten up that highlight reel to sell a big ticket fight like that. But even then, it's like, I don't want John Jones sitting out for 2 years waiting for a fight. So I see the only fight to make after this is John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. And even like you even heard the hypeness coming from DC. Like, you finally want to get into the heavyweights, and this is the guy that's going to greet you. I think John can beat a lot of guys in the heavyweight division, but when it comes to someone like Francis, it'd be nice to see him at 205 champion again, because to be honest, I just don't see anybody beating Francis for a while. And like, that's off of what I saw last night, of course. Now things may change because eventually you figure out a person's system or you figure out a way to beat the person. But seeing that, it's just going to be too dangerous. It's going to be dangerous for anybody fighting him moving forward. I think the more interesting thing to me at this point is if John Jones fights Francis Ngannou, will Izzy decide to be in the corner as well as Kamaru Usman? That's like the most interesting thing at this point because I feel like we all know what's written on the wall. Like it's already written on the wall what the end result possibly can be. John Jones has a chance, but at the same time, seeing someone like that fight is going to be a long day for anyone and a lot of heavy lifting.
No matter what, we've never seen John Jones get hit like he'll be hit by Francis.
And I think the scary thing about it is John does get hit.
Yes.
DC was clocking him. Dominic Reyes was teeing off on him. Thiago Santos was able to land a few hits. None of those guys have nowhere near the amount of power Francis has. That's not somebody that you want to fuck around and let me see how hard he hits. That's not the person because you will wake up in a hospital bed with the lights and the doctors, pouring gallons of smelling salt on you to make sure that you're okay. Because he's a guy like literally it's scary because he could cripple you. If he hits you the right way, he could fucking cripple you. And like he crippled Stipe, blew his fucking knee out. Like that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. And his thing is he doesn't want to hurt Stipe, like damage his career. But hey, until the ref stops it, I have to fuck you up because you have something that I want, which is the world championship.
Yeah, he learned from Sean O'Malley, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, man. What do you think about that fight, Spence?
I thought, to me, my biggest critique was like Sean O'Malley was a little too confident in these walk-offs because he did the walk-off twice. Yeah. He did the walk-off. The first time he did the walk-off, he had a chance, like he could have finished the fight there, didn't have a chance. And then it did look like he started to have a little bit of difficulty, but he won the first round. Then in that second round, it was like, because I believe it was 2 rounds, correct? Or 3?
No, it was 3. It was 3 rounds.
It was 3? Okay.
Yeah, it went 3.
If he stopped chasing like that highlight reel or stop chasing that, I'm trying to do a walk-off, you want to have a lot of problems. But then you see what happens when he tried to do a walk-off and they said, oh, no, the fight's not over, and he just did an unnecessary punch.
I thought that was, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt in the octagon, right? But if I was him and the first time, it's like, hey, they could have stopped the fight, but they didn't stop the fight. It was actually a good reason to not stop the fight because he wasn't out. He had just got knocked down. But the second time, it's like, hey, I got to end this because they need to make sure it's over. So Sean O'Malley walked over and made sure the fight was over. That's what he did. I mean, I'm not really mad at it,
And I don't know if you could really blame the referee on that neither. I think it's one of those situations where, and that's just how it is in the game of mixed martial arts. But with Sean O'Malley, I was impressed with it. Nigel was telling me last night, actually, that's what he needed. You know what I mean? Because most Sean O'Malley fights we see, the guys, they're getting knocked out in the first round. You know what I mean? He's walk-off KOs like he likes to do. So him getting those 3 rounds in and then finally towards the end of it, he gets the knockout is good because he's getting those minutes in. And the fights are only going to get harder from here, where people who are more durable, they know what it's like to fight against a flashy striker. So for him, this is the experience he needs. I think it was a good win. Should he run it back with Cheeto in a rematch? You can do that, but I think the UFC, they're probably going to try to wait a little bit to kind of like build both guys up so the rematch would be bigger. I seen something that Dominic Cruz called him out. That would be a fun fight, actually, and that would be a good fight. But we'll see.
Makes sense right now too.
Say that again.
Makes sense right now too.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes with Sean. His stock went up with this one.
And if you were watching the fight, listeners, in the co-main event, somebody whose stock also went up was Vicente Luque, and we had somebody whose stock went down in Tyron Woodley, who got stopped in the first round after a crazy exchange by submission. I'm not sure what the actual name of the submission was, but he got
Darstroke.
Thank you. Yeah, he got choked out. So it's just what it is.
Time to hang it up, man.
Yep.
4 straight loss. Don't get me wrong. It's like he was a champion at one point, but it's time to hang it up, man. Like he started off strong too. Like that was a crazy part. He started off strong, looked like he was having a little bit of trouble. Then he kind of came back trying to fight, but it's just one of those things where at this point in his career, I think he's 38, 39.
Yeah, he's 38.
Yeah, like he has nothing to prove. He's been the champion of the world. Had he been able to come back and win this fight, there would have been a different conversation. But four straight losses against top tier opponents. Those first 3 are top tier opponents at the end of the day, all fighting for championships. And you lose to this one, so it's like it's not much more to say from that. For me, it's time for him to hang it up. It's been great watching him fight. I will say that.
I agree with you, Spence. I think instead of him going to Bellator and fighting at a lesser league, and no knock on the Bellator fighters because they're good fighters there, but we all know UFC is the premier organization. So instead of Tyron going down there and possibly doing more damage to his health and legacy, because those guys can probably beat him at this time as well, hey, man, just those 4 losses, you've been losing worse each time. Man, try to go out on your shield, as he did. Because, like you said, he was having some success early. He landed some good, strong punches. Then Vicente cracked him. And then, I think he was knocked out against the cage before he, fell into the fucking choke.
Oh, yeah. And he's not on his feet.
Yeah, and just shouts out to Tyron, man. He went out on his shield, and just sucks that it took him 4 straight losses for him to go out on the shield. And if he decides to hang him up, I don't think anybody would be upset. But if he decides to fight another one, it won't be in the UFC. It'll definitely be in Bellator or the PFL, whatever.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't be fighting because he's not going to be fighting at elite level no more.
Yeah. It's weird being fans of the sport and just seeing him kind of take this decline in his career. You know what I mean? It's odd because it's what more does he really have to fight for? He's had a respectable career. And I mean, if he, really wants to take a break and come back and fight, I mean, I guess he can do that. But what would be the point? That's the way I see it. So I agree with y'all.
He has a shot now where he can kind of do some other things that he's worked on, whether it be being in movies, working on being an announcer more, or even going back to his music career.
I knew you were gonna say that shit. I was waiting for it.
T-Dog, he can always come back rapping like T-Dog again, whatever. He can try. He can really put all his focus in other areas now. With no knock on him, he had a great career. At the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but I think some of these guys that I've heard, I remember watching certain interviews before from fighters, and they say one of the reasons they stick around too long is because they don't know what to do other than fight. So in his case, he has other avenues. Hopefully he can take advantage of those while he's still mentally healthy still, because last thing you want to do is see Tyron Woodley be one of those punch-drunk fighters at the end of the day. So,
man, and shouts out to Vicente Luque. This guy, if you're an MMA fan, you know of him and whatever, but to the casual fans who tuned into the pay-per-view last night, now they're going to know, wow, this guy can fight. Because even though he was getting hit with Willie, he wasn't out of it. He kept walking forward, and until Willie kind of bounced off the fence and his head followed right into the Darstroke, and he choked his ass to sleep. So, or not to sleep, but made him tap out. So, shouts out to Vicente Luque, and he's going to get a big fight moving forward. I think he's going to get a maybe not a top 5 opponent, but he'll definitely get top 10. Absolutely. Beating Woodley, that you deserve a top 10 opponent.
Yeah, you do. And shouts out to Vicente Luque. Listeners, if you've been watching him fight for a little bit, he's no slouch in the welterweight division, and he's going to be around for a little bit. I mean, if you saw, he had maybe second or third most finishes in the welterweight division.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he's been around for a bit. Like Vicente Luque, if you know about him, you know about him, and if you don't, you probably do now at the least.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good to kind of bring that to the forefront now. Hopefully we can see what more he has to bring in his next fight.
And like more unfortunate news. I feel like every week we always have to talk about something unfortunate.
Right.
The Colorado shootings. Now, the shit was crazy because I think it happened on a Sunday. A young man, 21-year-old man, scumbag, if you really want to say it, went up in a grocery store and he killed like 10 people. And now I think the motive is still being investigated or whatever. So I'm not going to get into theories and trying to guess why he wanted, there's no good explanation why you want to walk in a grocery store and kill 10 random people. There's not. So now is linking up to gun control and what will the president do and stuff. And definitely RIP to the victims because, they're just going to the store to grab some milk or doing grocery shopping. That nobody would have ever guessed, hey, today's the day where I have to worry about my life because some gunman, for whatever reason, wants to shoot the whole public grocery store up. And definitely heart goes out to the families that lost their family members that day because, once again, John, Bob, and Mike, and Sally and Sarah, they went to the grocery store to pick up groceries, and now they'll never come home again because of some guy who had some ill motive. And I just think this shit is crazy. And this is further going to bring in the debate of gun control. So, listeners, our thoughts go out to the victims and another sad, crazy situation happening.
It was really sad. Just want to send my condolences to the family, and my heart goes out to the family because this is unfortunate, an unfortunate event to happen for anybody, let alone it's just unfortunate for a family member to have to get that call, let alone the people that were actually involved in that traumatic experience. So my prayers go out to that family, and my heart is heavy for them. So.
Yeah, this is, terrible. This is terrible to hear about, and I didn't really hear about this throughout the week, but that's just, super unfortunate that, 10 people lost their lives like that. The conversation about gun control is one to be had no matter which side you stand on it. And I think that, when anything like this happens, you should at least talk about it and at least be educated in what's going on. That's just the way I feel about it. I'll leave it at that.
I feel you. I mean, on to better news, though. If anybody has been paying attention, right, throughout the week, a very interesting person, a social media influencer by the name of Derrick Jaxn, recently came out with a scandal, apparently, that he had been cheating on his wife for a long amount of time, we'll say. And he did a public conversation. He did a public speaking engagement. Well, he just went on live, I'll say, with his wife. And they had a conversation on the acts that he was doing out here while still telling people, you shouldn't, all these bad things about men cheating and how men are this, that, and the third. In so many words, the anti-Kevin Samuels. So it's, I don't know if you guys saw any of this stuff, but it was definitely a hilarious moment within social media this week, man.
I think this shit... It is funny because it's like, wow, what a turn of events. This guy who, his claim to fame is kissing the feet and toes of women. And hey, you need to pander to a woman, no matter if she's 500 pounds or 50 pounds. You should be grateful to be in a woman's presence. In reality, he's going to be behind his wife, embarrassing her, just viciously cheating. Like he has the Undertaker's streak of 21-0 cheating, and he got fucking caught. And then now all these conspiracy theories coming out about him cheating. Then he has his fucking wife with him. Like, yes, I did cheat. And just embarrassing her, the shit out of her.
Through the mud.
Yeah, and I'm just like this guy, he deserved and earned all the criticism and backlash. And, good for you, buddy. Good, congratulations. I just don't know how people can pull shit off like that. And my God, you have earned it like that. I don't know. Just sometimes you gotta look at people and be like, you know what, man, just good for you. That's great news for you.
He's just a hypocrite, man. And like, the shit's just kind of funny. Like, the honest truth of it is that, like, some dudes are just like that. Some dudes will talk all the sweet shit in the world. Like, they will appear to be the nicest fucking man, and they're just fucking dogs. And that's just the way it is. Some people are just like that. It is what it is. It's just, and people who aren't like that are dogs too. Like, it's just, that's just the way the world is.
The thing that just trips me out, he's trying to be like this holy saint, I'm a stained glass halo on top of my head type of figure. And they're like, nah, man, when the camera comes off, he got 4 or 5 things in the back waiting to get pounded on. And he's, his wife probably at work and working hard and stuff for their household. And he's just sitting there just dominating, viciously, brutally cheating on her. And then now he's doing this soap opera of, I'm sorry. And like, no, you're not sorry. you knew exactly what
sorry.
you were doing. You're not
the
sorry.
last thing he is sorry. He's sorry he got caught for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, no matter who you listen to, no matter who you want to believe, when it comes to social media, you shouldn't listen. Or you can listen to whoever you want to on social media, but you got to take into account that this person is a human just like you. I think the people that were more distraught were his followers than the people that are aware of who he is and just says, hey, that's Derrick Jaxn. We all know what he does. He's got his own hustle. He sells books doing this stuff. Open engagements, cool. I think he did a response video off of his video with him and his wife, like talking about himself in third person. Like, you can tell that. But you can tell,
like, how pompous are you? Like,
continue to sell snake oil, like, God.
Like, I mean, I think they even had like a conversation in his chat where in his comment section where someone was like, "Oh, why you got her with a bonnet on?" He was like, "Oh, nah, that's just a hat with a bunch of laughing emojis." And like, granted, you're trying to let this roll off your shoulders as best as you can, try to joke your way out of it. But at the end of the day, it is an embarrassment for like his spouse when it's all said and done. And then on top of it, it's like the people that have followed him, I hope this kind of brings clarity that you shouldn't you shouldn't worship false idols, right? And these people, because at the end of the day, he's like, oh, yeah, it's like, have you ever listened to the Kendrick Lamar song off Damn, where he's like, I think it's Fear or something like that, where he's talking about his friends like, yeah, my son got killed and I'm coming to you because I know like this is like, you're a peaceful person. He's like, listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat the answer. This is what I would have did. If someone killed my son, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So it's like, but then turns around and is like, oh, yeah, I'm talking to kids about gun violence. It's like, you're juxtaposing the position with that where it's like, oh, yeah, you should not cheat on your wife, man. Any guy that cheats on his wife is a horrible guy. Meanwhile, it's like, oh, no, I'm not going home. I'm going to my side chick house tonight.
I mean, so what does that make him, I guess,
Yeah, I mean, what you said. He's an anomaly.
No, he is a human.
He said himself, the closer he got to God, the more stuff like this happened. Which I don't even understand how that.
All right, Derek.
I don't even.
We're good.
Like,
just accept what you did, yo. It's all right.
Exactly.
People get caught. It is what it is.
I feel bad for his spouse because she put up a crazy video too, talking about some shit that people were like, what is you on? Like,
Shield of Salvation.
Yeah, like all that bullshit, and I just feel sorry for her because she's probably fucked up now. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? And she probably loves that man, and for that shit to happen to her, like, she came out as the biggest loser of the situation, and it wasn't intentional. but because of her piece of shit husband who has been, making it his fucking goal to just do the most cheating he could possibly do behind her back. To do, cheat as hard as he can. Like, that's not right
really
to
trying.
her. That's not right to her. And I just like, and the fact he's still selling bullshit, it's just like,
to do a reaction to yourself is crazy,
yeah.
Like, he's like, this is what I say to that young man. Like, the fuck, man. Like, you don't get out of here. Like, that shit's crazy.
He's up there with Cokehead De La Hoya, man. That's an Oscar De La Hoya moment. That's like,
yo. That is crazy.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Spence. Let's leave.
Oh
man, let's leave on a high note.
Yeah. Figuratively, literally and figuratively speaking. I'm not sure if you saw Lau. I wanted to get your opinion on this. So apparently, it's been said that I believe that Oscar De La Hoya is willing to come out of retirement to fight. Who is it? Ben Askren, or was it? Who was it? Was it Ben?
I saw that he was actually coming out of retirement. That much is for sure.
But
the opponent was to be announced.
Yeah, but I think in the joint that you sent me, it was either Ben Askren or Jake Paul, I believe.
Oh, Jesus. So this is going to keep on going. That's what that means.
Man, it's not going to stop until the day he croaks over. Like Dana said, coke is not cheap, and he's willing to sacrifice his body to appease the Mexican cartel's funds because he's going to continue. Come on, man. There's no reason why Oscar De La Hoya needs to come back and box. There's no celebrity shit. Mentally, he's not in the right frame of mind. If a commission gives him a boxing license, that's front page corrupt. There's no secret. The cat is out the bag. We are a corrupt sport. He should not get a license to fight. I'm telling you, whoever he's gonna box, unless it's like some fucking 14-year-old off the street that's never boxed. That's the only way he's gonna win. Because he fights a guy that knows how to fucking box and has some experience with it. They're gonna knock the coke out of his fucking nose. Like he should not be fighting. Congratulations to fucking Oscar. Once again, he found a way to keep himself in the headlines because he can't help himself. There's two things. He wants to be relevant and he wants to sniff coke for the rest of his life.
Yo, you're a wild dude, man. You're a wild guy, man. Jeez. Like, but it's going to be like, he's definitely chasing a bag for this. I will say that. Take it however you want. Like, he's definitely chasing a bag that's going to get him like a nice come up because it more than likely is going to be on Triller. Like, for him to announce this at like a Triller commentary, he's probably going to try to get a celebrity fight on Triller. And it'll probably, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, yo, I want to fight Ben Askren next. That I don't even have an opinion for that. But it's just, I think we should just leave it at how Lau ended this because I don't even think you can go out on a higher note than that.
I see something on Twitter last night, and I don't know who said it, but he said he sniffs so much coke when he sneezes, he activates his high again. That's the perfect example of Oscar De La Hoya, and him doing what he's doing is just you see what he stands for the past 5 years. He doesn't stand for boxing. He doesn't stand for integrity. He stands for cocaine. So good on him. And I just hope that somebody just stops the nonsense, man. Don't give him a license to fight. Don't entertain him. Because when he wins, I guarantee we won't see a fight again because he's going to go on a binge, sniffing coke. Like we already know. So,
jeez. On that note, anything else to be said before we hit up out of here?
Yeah, man. Derrick Jaxn, the stunt that he pulled, man, I'm telling you, him and Oscar, they're battling for,
No, that's the versus.
controversy of the year. Yeah, that's a versus battle right there.
No, the versus is Kevin Samuels versus Derrick Jaxn, whatever his name is.
I'm not even, man. No,
What?
I don't want to see that shit.
Shouts out to Kevin Samuels.
Shouts out to Kevin Samuels, man. But no, I don't care to hear Derrick Jaxn say anything. Yeah. I'm good.
Yo,
I agree. Like what he's like, come on, because we know anything he's gonna say is just shit out of the mouth because it's
you can't preach that same shit and then do the exact opposite of what you're fucking preaching, yo.
Yeah, he's brutally cheating, stepping out of his marriage, and then he expects somebody to be like, yeah, I'm gonna continue to listen to him. Like, come on, bro. What kind of message are you sending now?
Listen, like, man.
Even though I cheat, even though I viciously cheat, buy my books and buy my program on why you shouldn't cheat on women. But I viciously cheat. Like, come on, man. Bro. Like,
listen, but he's not selling the man; he's selling the woman. So we already know. Like, we already know what that is. We know what that is.
I think he lost his woman audience, unless they're just idiots. But the strong-minded, independent queen. Come on, she can't continue. She got to cancel her subscription after that.
Listen, man, nothing else to be said, yo. There's nothing else I could say on that one, yo.
Hey, man, drink your water. And Nigel dropped the plugins. Shouts out to the listeners. Episode 50, the big 50, dropping next week, and we're gonna try to make it dope as hell. All that. Yeah, go ahead, Nigel.
You can follow us at Advise Highly on Twitter.
Okay.
Highly Advise Podcast on Instagram.
Okay.
Right. Follow the YouTube if you're watching this right now. Highly Advise Podcast. This is relaxingLG_Jackson. Big Cozy. ST.KITCH. St. Kitch. Highly Advised. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Let's go.
Highly advised.
Then all of a sudden I said I didn't record it.